Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to Airbrush Garage. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Today, I'm going to show you a technique on how to make something look like it's rolling or waving. In this case, and most of the times, it's going to be a flag. So I'm going to concentrate just on that part of the flag today. I'm going to show you a technique here with some masking, and then I'm going to show you a freehand technique. So if that's something you're interested in, please stick around, consider subscribing. Hit that bell so you get future notifications. Couple comments, good or bad, really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to check out all my Amazon affiliate links for the products I use in this video and all my other videos. Go check out that new cool store tab that we got back on the channel. You get a lot of Airbrush merchandise over there, some Airbrush Garage stuff, and a lot of other stuff too that you can put on a lot of cool products. So with that, let's get started. All right, so for the first technique I'm going to be showing you, what I actually have here is a piece of Terra slate paper. Normally, I'd be doing this on a hard surface. You really can't do this like on a regular piece of drawing paper because the tape is it's just too much for the paper. So you need something that's going to be a little bit more durable. Now, with that said, what I use is I use 12-inch, I use 6-inch rolls as well of transfer tape for a technique like this. And off camera, I would just put some wavy lines in here with a pencil. And then I actually pre-cut on those lines with a very sharp X-Acto blade. You want to make sure that you keep your blade sharp. So after doing a particular cut like this or two, I'll change blades. Because there's a technique for cutting this transfer tape. I'll pop a card up above because I have a video on how to cut transfer tape without cutting into your substrate. But that's not what this video is about. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm going to take off every other stripe. I'm going to lay some red in there, and then I'm going to show you how to make it look like it's waving. All right, now that I got that done, I got my trusty Iwata clips right here, got it loaded up with some illustration red. And the key to laying down, I don't care if it's illustration or Wicked, is you don't want to go too fast, too quick. Okay, so you just want to get a nice, just mist it on there. Just get a light layer going first. You notice I have the air going all the time. The air never stops. And I'm just rocking that trigger back and forth to get the paint to flow on there. So once you get that nice light base on there, by the time you're done here, that's already dry. You want to come back up and start putting it on a little heavier. If you go too fast, too quick, it tends to separate sometimes. I'm spraying with about 27 psi, and I'm about 5 to 6 inches from the surface. All right, so as you can see, what we have here right now is, yeah, kind of looks like a flag, but it's very 2D. You really can't, it doesn't pop. It just looks very flat. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a little bit of black, and we're going to go very, very lightly. The thing that you have to keep in mind here is you always can add more, but you can't take it away. So what I want you to do here is when you spray your black on here, I have some illustration black loaded up in here. It doesn't matter if you're using Wicked or illustration, whatever paint you're using. You kind of want to look at where the highs and the lows are. So this can be a high and this can be the low. So you kind of want to look at where your highs and your lows are. So I'm going to be looking at this as a high and the valley or the bottom of the mountain, think of it that way, as the low. And that's where we're going to be putting our black through. We are going to come back with some white as a highlight. So the highlights at the top are going to be white highlighted because the sun, even though it's material, the light is going to be at the high point of, let's call it the mountain, okay, or the wave. And the black is going to be in the low parts. So I'm going to have a white highlight coming through here, and I'm going to have a black one coming through here, not a highlight, but a shadow coming through here. I'm also going to have another shadow coming through here. But what you need to do is you need to put this on very lightly. Then you need to step back and take a look at it and see what you think before you go and add any more. That is the key. So there's a couple different techniques, or basically two techniques you can use to do this. I'm going to show you one with the freehand and then one to kind of sharpen it up with a stencil. But I'm just going to go freehand, and I'm going to pick a line here where I want this thing to roll. And I see here, and I see a lull here. Okay, so I'm basically going to come down, and I can bend this too. I can bend this back to this if I really wanted to, okay? So you don't have to have a straight line as well. So if you just want to pick out your low point and you want to come down through here, you can come and bend this thing right back around to this low as well. So again, light here is better. Okay, so I'm just going to mist something in, just get my track going right there. As you saw, that was a very light, fast pass. And I'm going to do the same right here. I'm going to come of these lows, I'm going to bend this right down into this low point here. And I'm going to start from the top. Just eyeing up exactly where I want it. Okay. Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to step back. I'm going to take a look at it. And then I can decide what I want to do, where I want to go from there. So the next technique, in order to get it to, say, be a little sharper, is I'm going to look for a stencil that I can use, and this one doesn't appear to be one, so I'm going to look around for what I can use. Now, you can cut a piece of paper to do this as well. So I could probably do a two-parter right here. I could do one here, and then bring this down to here. Now, the other thing I'm going to want to do, if you're going to do this with a stencil, to kind of get a center, or a sharper line, and I like to more keep it just freehand because I like to keep it soft, but you can keep this soft as well, but you've got to keep the stencil about an inch, maybe a half at the most, half inch to an inch above your surface, so you get a soft line. If you were to put the stencil right down onto the surface, you're going to get a sharp line. That's not what you want. So I think I want to try this one over here. I'm going to spray mostly on the stencil at a 90 degree to the stencil. I'm going to kind of work this around. And here's where you got to watch it. Don't get too dark. Be very careful with it. Again, less is more here. Okay. So now I'm going to switch back off to the white. Now I can come back. I'm going to come back in with the black in a minute, but I'm going to switch off to some white. All right, so now I got some white loaded up here in the brush, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit my high spots. And I'm going to do the same thing. I can use the stencil. I prefer to go freehand, but you're just going to want to hit those highlights where you think looks like I'm spraying a lot, but I'm actually keeping it pretty light. The white has a little bit tougher of a time going over stuff than black does, so you're going to have to make a few more passes with it, let it dry. If you need to come back, you can come back. So here, I want to make this highlight a little bit stronger. I'm going to come back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back again. I'm going to take a look. This is very difficult to see close up. So now you can see it already taking on more of a 3D effect. It's getting rid of that 2D flatness, and you're adding some depth and dimension to it. I'm going to go back in now with my black now that I have some of my white in. And I can see where I think I want to make it a little sharper, a little darker. So just keep in mind, wherever you have a highlight, it's going to be rolling back into a shadow. Okay, so you're going to have the highlight again at the top and a shadow at the bottom. I'm going to come in a little closer and a little tighter. And again, trying not to go too dark here. This really requires a little trigger control. I'm going to fade back a little bit. Now you have a lot of area in between here. So that, I'm trying to keep it sharp at first, but then I'm going to widen it out just a little bit to try to mimic that shadow coming down. In order to get those sharp lines, it takes a little practice, but you got to move the airbrush. You can't sit here and take your time with this. You got to move the airbrush. You got to keep it flowing. I'm going to put a little darkness in here over on the side. And try to stay out of the way of the camera. Switch back on to the white because this right here is a really big roll. And again, at the top is going to be your brightest, and then you're going to want it to fade out just a little bit down towards your shadow. So I'm going to come in here tighter now with the white and try to brighten that up in the center of it. And then move back a little bit, broaden it out. Go to the left of that sharp line of the white and the right. A little bit brighter, broader of a patch. So after I do each round, I'm going to step back and take a look at it until I'm satisfied. And I'm almost there. Well, all right, as you can see, you just want to work it back and forth, but as many times as I hit it, I still kept it light. When I was learning this technique, you don't know how many times, but I thought it was good. I stepped back and went, uh-oh, I'm too dark. If you're too dark, it's really, really hard to fix, almost near impossible. All right, there you have it. That's just the basics in getting your flags or anything else that you're looking to get some contour or roll to. So I hope you got something from this video. If you did, you guys know the drill. Consider subscribing, thumbs up, comments. Go check out that store tab. It all really helps out the channel. We're growing. It's all because you guys. I really appreciate it. So with that, we'll see you in the next video.